you guys, and welcome back to Lily Reads. It is the last week of June, which means it is the last week of Pride, and I want to do a Pride vlog. I try to do a Pride vlog at the end of every June, every single year, and so I got some books that really fit into the LGBTQIA representation bubble, and so we are going to read them this week. I'm going to try to get to as many as possible, so let's get on into it. The first book we have is Memorial by Brian Washington. I read a book from this author before called Family Meal, and this is a gay black author, and so let's see what Brian Washington has in store for us. Then I also got a lesbian book. It's called Can't Let Her Go by Kiana Alexander. Haven't read anything from this author. I read something from like this publishing house. I don't even know what this publishing house is, and I did not like it. So let's hope this is a little bit better. And yeah, so then I have Sonora Reyes, The Broposal. I've read 2 books from this author before. Young adult, I think it will be good. I think it's young adult. It says best friend, fake fiancés. This sounds right up my alley. I really hope I get to it. And then the last book is a book that like has been loved. It's gotten awards. It's been praised. It is Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. That is what we are going to read this week. And we're just, we're going to kick off. Well, really not kick off. We're going to end Pride right. And we are going to read these books. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can before the month ends. That's the plan, to read as many as I can before the end of the month. Okay, so spend the week with me and let's just show some pride. Let's, be positive, even though it can be really hard in this time. I just think it's really important to speak about the things that you care about and to show love for the things that you care about and the people that you care about. And so that's what we're going to do in this video, okay? Hello, you guys. I'm here to come and discuss the first book of the video. I decided to start reading Memorial by Brian Washington. I have read a book from this author before. It was called Family Meal, and I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed Brian Washington's style. There was pictures in the book, and it was like very short little passages. It was easy to read. I think it had a really great effect on me as a reader, and I really just enjoyed it. So going into this, I am expecting a lot. I am almost at the halfway point of this book, and in this book we are following two gay men who live together and are in a relationship together. One of them is named Ben, the other one is named Mike. His name is Mike, right? Make sure, yeah. One of them is named Ben and one is named Mike. We have Ben. Ben is a Black American man. They live in Houston, 3rd Ward. And Mike, and he is like a preschool teacher. He teaches like preschool. He teaches like young kids. And then we have Mike. Mike is a chef and he is Korean. He's Korean American. And like I said, they're in a relationship. They have been in a relationship for a while, and everything in that relationship has not been good. There's been some infidelity issues. They don't really talk to each other as much. We have Ben. He says sometimes he doesn't like the way that Mike looks. Mike is a bigger man. And so like they're just having issues with attraction. They're having issues with being honest with each other. And so there's just issues. But something happens that kind of gets the story going. And that is that Mike's mom has come to stay with him. Mike's mom has come to stay with them for a little bit. And so she basically moves in with them. And at first, everything is going as well as you can expect someone's mom moving in with you. But then all of a sudden, Mike up and leaves one day. Mike goes back to Osaka to go visit his dying daddy. His daddy is sick and going to die. So he decides he needs to see his dad through this, even though he's not close to his dad. He might not have even met his dad before. Maybe he did like when he was young. He don't know his daddy. But he just decides to up and go to Osaka and spend time with his dad for however long. And so that leaves Ben with his mama, because his mama not going with the daddy. So the mom is still visiting and living in a apartment with Ben, and that ain't his mama. But Ben got his own shit going on, because Ben has a daddy who's a drunk and a mom who kind of just feels a little bit distant. And so he kind of has like pushed his family away because of like things he dealt with coming out and how his family has like treated him. They're not awful, because like I said, his dad's a drunkard, so his dad is just the bigger issue in the family. And he's close to his sister, but he's just not very close to his family. So he's dealing with that, like what type of relationship should he have with his dad. And so you got that. And that's pretty much what's going on. So this book is told from where I'm at in 2 different parts. We have the first part, which is like Ben's part. Ben is the black guy. We have everything that's going on with him. And then I'm in the part now as Mike. We're following Mike as he is in Osaka, and he's giving us information about like how him and Ben got to know each other. Okay, how do I feel about this book? I will say that I think I would like this book more if I had not already read Family Meal. Because this book is told almost in the exact same way Family Meal is, and I read Family Meal last year, it kind of feels the same. It kind of feels a lot of the same. And so all the things that impressed me in Family Meal aren't impressing me here because I've seen it before. And then Family Meal is the more recent book, so clearly Brian Washington is a stronger writer as he keeps on writing. I actually think he's coming out with a book this year, by the way. Maybe next year. Maybe he's coming out with a book next year, but his next book has already been announced, and I'll probably read it. But so like I told you, this book is told in like very slice of life like paragraphs. Especially the beginning. Mike's is a little bit more story, like you get like the writing is just like very like in parts and in spaces, and I appreciate that because there's something like true to life about that. How like our life is not really a novel in the sense that everything is like streamlined and disconnected. It's like our life is just moments, and those moments pile up to make a story, and I appreciate the way Brian Washington does that. But I will say I don't want to confuse like something being digestible with something being well done. Like I don't want to say like this is like extraordinarily written, because I actually don't think that's true. Sometimes I read this and I'm just like, this book feels like it's kind of trying to say something profound, but like if I sit back, I don't even think that lemon was worth the squeeze. Like I don't even think anything came from that. So I don't want to get too attached to like sentimentality, like, ooh, I get what this book is trying to do, so therefore it's doing it well. I don't know about that, but like, it's simple, it's to the point. I will say at times I don't care. At times it's hard to care about what Ben or Mike truly have going on, because I just think because of the way the book is written, you kind of feel at like a distance from them sometimes. You kind of feel like, oh, this one is over here and this one's over here, and like, I don't really care about you guys' relationship, any of that stuff. I'm gonna keep reading. Like, let me just say, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle about it. I'm not in love. We will see. I will keep reading because Mike's stuff is getting a little juicy. So I'll keep reading and tell you how I feel. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to come and give my final thoughts on Memorial by Brian Washington. This book is an interesting one because I think that it's a good book. Like, I really think it's a good book. But I did not have the most amazing reading experience, and I also think that I wasn't heavily invested in the characters. Like, I didn't care how they ended up. I didn't care about their relationships, and so it didn't really pull me in. I think this book had a really hard time pulling me in and captivating me and really keeping me in the book. What I think was really well done, and I would have to sit with this more, is that this book takes place in Third Ward, Houston, which is a predominantly black area in Houston, Texas. Shout out to Beyonce. Beyonce is from Third Ward. And I like how this book shows the passage of time in this relationship with this neighborhood that is like going through different changes. Like, there's different people moving in, there's gentrification, there's things that are staying the same. Like, it's showing time through this neighborhood. And I think this book is having an interesting conversation about gentrification and how areas change without so being in your face, and also paralleling that with this relationship. And also, this book has a line, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly fully, but it was like, the whole point is for you to sit and get to know me. So this book doesn't have any actual plot except for what I told you earlier about these two characters. But this book has a line about how you're just supposed to sit in there here and get to know these characters. Like, the characters are talking about something else, but you can relate it to this book. And I also appreciate that. I appreciate, like, you're just sitting here with these two characters, getting to know them in their relationship. There's not this big purpose. There's not this big moment. You're just getting to know two people who are at this crossroads in their life and in their relationship, and seeing what happens. I really appreciate that. I do think the strongest part of this book is actually the relationship between the black character and the Asian mom of his boyfriend. I think that's probably the best relationship going on in the book. Other than that, though, I'll give this book like a 3.5. I'll give it a 3.5. It was perfectly nice. Like I said, I already read Family Meal by this same author, so therefore I'm not like blown away by what this book could like do, because I think Family Meal is a better story. So anyways, that's that on that. That's really all my thoughts. Anyways, the reason why I'm sitting in this car and I have a full beat on is because I'm headed to a retirement party. So I need to go in the retirement party right now. But I wanted to update you guys. And yeah, we'll move on to our next book, which is now we're going to move on to some lesbians. We're going to read Can't Let Her Go. I'm looking for something in my car as I'm telling you guys. Anyways, I got to get in the party, so I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, you guys. It is the end of my day. I had like a work day, like a heavy work day today. I had a sponsored video to send over to my manager, and it was just this really quick turnaround. So I literally was working on that all day, but I'm proud of myself because actually in my downtime, I was able to read 150 pages. I'm getting back on my reading 50 pages in the morning kick. I'm doing this thing now because I'm always trying to better myself. I'm doing this thing now where if I don't read 50 pages in the morning, I'm not allowed to like get on social media. Either I need to make up for those 50 pages if I want to get on social media, or I just can't get on social media at all if I'm not going to read. So it forces me to just like start reading. Like, I think if you're someone who wants to start reading books, I would just challenge you to try to read. It doesn't have to be 50 pages, maybe just 20 pages. Like the first thing you do in the morning, because you already feel like you've accomplished something and you've started reading, so it's easier to get back into it. I think when it comes to reading, for a lot of people, the hardest thing is starting. So if you wake up in the morning, you just do it, and then you go about your day, whether you go to work or if you work from home, at least you've already started. You already have a footing in a book, so it's easier to come back to it. That's what I find. I find when I read 50 pages in the morning, it's a lot easier for me to read more during the day, because just like, oh, I already started. It's kind of like watching a TV show or starting a movie. It's just really easy to go back into it once you've already started it. So anyways, I started Can't Let Her Go by Kiana Alexander. In this book, we are following two lesbians. One's name is Peaches. The other one's name is Jamie. So let's start with Peaches. Peaches is our mask-presenting lesbian. She has a barber shop. She cuts hair for a living. She has stepped in as almost a mother to her nieces and nephews because her brother got a divorce and he's having a hard time raising his kids. And so she's kind of stepped into that role, but it means that she's spread pretty thin. She has an ex-girlfriend. They had a bad breakup. So her life has kind of been committed to this, like doing the barbershop, taking care of her family. Her mother died 2 years ago, and that really had not a great effect on her. She hasn't been doing well since then. And then her dad is kind of like a little bit distant, because her dad, even though he thinks he's not homophobic, he says like homophobic stuff. Like, for example, she'll say something about the nieces and nephews, and he was just like, I don't want that gay stuff around my niece and nephew. And it's just like, now what the hell that mean? What the hell that mean? So she's just kind of spread a little thin, but she has a crush on this girl named Jamie. Jamie is a part of their friend group. There's a friend group of girls, and Jamie is in the friend group. But Peaches and Jamie are not very close. They know each other. They're friendly with each other. They've obviously talked to each other, but like of the group, they are not the connection there. There's other connections connecting them. And so Jamie is more femme. And Jamie works at a nail salon. She had this big dream of opening up a nail salon. She had the name. She knew what she wanted to do. But then one of the hussies down at the nail salon basically stole her idea and is going to start it all herself. But Jamie isn't too pressed about it because she's just like, I plan on going back to school anyway. She wants to go back to school and become like a chemist. So she's looking at different science programs to start and to get her degree. Now, she has a really messed up family life in the sense that, like, don't nobody in her family give a damn about her. Like, they don't care about her. They having group gatherings. They not inviting her to it. Her parents think that she, like, didn't do anything with her life. Like, she's just doing nails. Her brother's a lawyer, and they're wondering why she won't step up to the plate. So she's kind of like, okay, y'all are weird, but she still wants their approval, and that's kind of a common theme in this book. How both of them have not great family situations, but they both yearn for that community. You want to be wanted, and so they're both dealing with this. Well, Peaches one night is at a party for a friend. Jamie also shows up to that party, and Jamie is off a few glasses of champagne, and she knocks into Peaches, and she's like, "You look so good. Like, I think you're so attractive." And Peaches is not giving her the time of day because she's just like, "You're drunk. And you're only saying that because you're drunk." So Jamie kind of takes offense to that. And like the next day, she's kind of like, what does she mean by that? Like, why is she like chastising me like I'm a child because I had a couple drinks? But Jamie's just like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm going to show her that I really, really like her. So Jamie makes this like grand entrance into the barbershop one day. And it's like, hey, you want to go on a road trip with me? And by the way, I do really like you. And so our two main characters are going to go on a road trip with each other to see if they like one another, get to know one another. This book is really shaking up to be okay. I was about to say it's really good. It's not really good, but it's better than I expected it to be. I really like this Peaches and Jamie character, and I like, so number one, I like that they're both like doing this like entrepreneur thing, and they're both trying to find community with people who want to have community with them. I think oftentimes when we do get queer stories, there can be these stories about how nobody wants them, no one wants to be around them. It's just like, maybe go find community that wants you. And that's what they're doing in this book. But at the exact same time, they're also discussing how like there's still this want for like the community that comes from people who are, you know, who you expect to have community with, like your mom, like your dad, like your siblings. And what do you do when it seems like you're not getting that sort of community? Once again, we're seeing this dynamic between like this femme and this mass that's really, really interesting. I like that. I like actually in this book, it seems that Peaches is a little bit shy, doesn't know how to play it. And then Jamie is just like this sexy vixen. I'm really enjoying that. Overall, it's just a really good story. I don't want to spoil where I am in the book because at this point, I'm now at the halfway point, but there's something that happens that has our two characters in a little bit of conflict that I'm also really enjoying. This is shaping up to just be a really good, like, queer story and a good romance book. And coming off me not enjoying the book club book, I need a win on some black romance. So I am liking this. And then also I think this character is just writing these characters really well in the sense like I feel like I can picture them. I feel like I can picture them in my head. Everything seems real. Everything on the page seems real. I will say there's no like break. So the POVs, we're getting both POVs of the ladies. And there's no like break in showing you who's talking and who's not talking. Therefore, sometimes I don't know who the hell talking. I'd be like, did they switch POV? So it can be confusing there. And then the writing isn't the best as well. There's some editing issues, I think, along the way here to where it's a little bit more confusing than it needs to be. But I will say there is meat on these bones, and this is not a bad book. The fact that there's still hours left in the day, and I got halfway through the book, shows you I'm enjoying it well enough. So I will finish this book tomorrow, and we will move on to our next book. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to wrap up this book that I finished, our second book of the video. I finished Can't Let Her Go by Kiana Alexander. And you want to know something, you guys? I actually really enjoyed this book. I'm not going to give this book more than 3.5 stars. I don't think it like warrants all of that, but I do think this is a perfectly enjoyable book, and it's the perfect book for pride. We're dealing with pansexual people, we're dealing with bisexual people, we're dealing with lesbians, we're dealing with everybody in the LGBTQ plus community, and this was just really enjoyable. It was really, really cute. You want to know what I appreciated about this book. I enjoyed the family dynamics of this book. I enjoyed how this book took on found family, because we often see in books that are about queer people, like, you got to find your own family. A lot of people won't accept you. But I think this book did a good job at like showing why you need to find your own family and find people who accept you. I just thought that they had really good family dynamics that a lot of people have, especially Black people, but we don't see it in books. Like I said, these two people felt real. Like, reading this book, I felt like I was reading about two actual people, and that was really, really good. Another thing, the third act breakup. Y'all know it's a romance book. Every romance book has a third act breakup. I thought the third act breakup in this book actually had some merit. Like, the thing that they were disagreeing on was like stuff that like people would actually disagree on. So our character Peaches, she had an issue with like, she kept projecting her issues that she had with her ex onto Jamie. And then Jamie wanted, being a very sexual woman, a very sensual woman, knowing what she wants to do next in her life, she didn't seem like she was as serious with Peaches. Like, it almost seemed like, is this just sex? Is this just fly by night? Like, what are we doing? And so when they had this conflict, it felt really real, because as I was reading the book, I was like, ooh, y'all got some issues y'all need to work out. So in the third act, when all of that was coming to a head, I was like, there it is. That's exactly what y'all should be doing. So overall, you guys, I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this book way more than I thought I would. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this book so much that I wasn't even going to put it in this video. But I'm just like, Kenya, if you're not going to read this book, you're never going to read this book. And I have this thing now in my life currently where if I get to a place where like I should read a book, I know like, Kenya, this is the perfect time to read this book, but you don't want to, I'm gonna start unhauling stuff. I am going to start unhauling stuff. Not any new books that I purchased or books that I purchased in the past 2 years, but books that have been sitting on my bookshelf for a minute and I just never feel like picking them up. When am I ever going to do it? I do not know, because like, it's not that I'm running out of space. I watch content creators all the time and they have books all over their house. I don't actually have books all over my house. Like, in this is my bedroom. There's no books in here. Like, I have no bookshelf in here. There's no books in here. And I would like to keep it that way. In my living room, I have like some books on display, but like nothing actually. And then I like to put in my kitchen, like around my kitchen, I like to put the books that I'm going to read currently that month. And that's that. But my point is that I eventually would like to make my loft into a library room. So I want to be particular about like what I put in that library room once I do. This is literally like not even a this year type of thing. Maybe if it is, it's at the end of the year. Nothing I'm going to do now, but I want my loft to have all of my unread books, and then in my office, all of my read books, because I'm more likely to reference read books than not read books. So all my non-read in the library room, all my read books in the office. And so I want to make sure I'm not holding on to books that I don't want to read. So this was almost a book that I was just like, Kenya, if you don't think this book is going to be good, why are you holding on to it? But it ended up being good. Like I said, I think I'm going to give this book a 3.5. I'm good with a 3.5. That was an enjoyable book. Well, we are going to move on to the next book in this video. And I decided it's going to be Detransition, baby. This is another book that is like stuck around in my life for far too long. I haven't owned this book personally for a long time, but I have heard about this book and wanted to read this book for a really long time. I've checked this book out from the library before. I have checked this book out from Libby before. Like, this is a book that just keeps on sticking around. And so I was like, if I were to read The Broposal, which is the other book I was thinking about reading this video, and I don't know if I'm going to get to it. If I were to go to that, that means this book would stick around even longer. And it's just like, no, can you just bite the bullet and just read this book? So our third book of the video is going to be Detransition, Baby by Tori Peters. Hopefully I can read this quick, and then we can move on to The Broposal, and we'll get 4 books read in this video. I am assuming, the fact that I'm putting it in this video, I'm assuming this is something to do with like trans people. I don't even fully know what this book is about, but I'm excited to read it, and we're going to see what's going on, okay? Peace. Hello, you guys. Do you guys hear that thunder crackling outside my window? It is raining cats and dogs outside. It literally rains every single day where I live, so that's not shocking. It's going to happen at some point. But anyways, I want to come and discuss Detransition, baby, because this is the book I decided to read, and this will be the last book of the vlog because I'm noticing how fast I'm reading this, or really how slow I'm reading this, and I will not have time to read the proposal. We'll read that sometime this year. Don't worry, you'll get my thoughts. If you're just waiting at bated breath to know what Kenya is going to think about the proposal, you will find out. I'm sure I will read it sometime this year. But we're going to talk about Detransition, baby, by Tori Peters. Why did I say Peters? Tori Peters. Okay, so in this book, you are following two trans characters. You are following a trans woman named Jamie, and you are following a trans woman named Amy, but she decided to detransition, and so their name is now Ames. Well, before Ames detransitioned and was Amy, she dated Jamie. They were lovers, and they broke up for reasons, and then Amy decided to detransition and became Ames, and so they have not talked since any of that. So we start the book off with Jamie, our trans woman. She is on a date with a guy who is married. They've been dating and fooling around for a while. He has clearly a fetish for trans women, but Jamie is just like, I need love, baby, and so you know what, I'ma do this. He treats her horribly, and she's been trying to get this guy to treat her better, but he doesn't. And we learn that this is a cycle in Jamie's life. She constantly lets cis heterosexual men treat her really, really badly, and they usually are married, and so she's just not doing all that well. Well, one day when she is at a restaurant picking up food for her and this guy that she is dating, she gets a call from Amy, and that is how we get to know Amy. So Amy is no longer Amy. Amy is Ames because Amy decided to detransition, and Ames got a baby on the way. Even though when Ames was Amy, she was taking estrogen, and therefore she thought she was sterile and couldn't have kids. Something happened and she wasn't actually sterile, so when she detransitioned, she started having sex with cis heterosexual women. They got a woman at the job pregnant, and so they got a baby on the way. But Ames doesn't feel really good about this because Ames, even though they detransition, Ames still feels like a trans woman. She still identifies as a trans woman, and she feels like if she were to not be Amy anymore and fully lean into the Ames life and be a father and walk through this life as a man, she will lose the Amy part of her. And so there's this weird thing going on where Ames wants to be remembered as Amy, but also Ames didn't like living as a trans woman, but knows that they will always be Amy. And so the reason why Ames is calling Jamie is because Ames wants Jamie to help raise this baby because Jamie is the only person in Ames' life who knows Ames as not a guy. So if Jamie helps raise this kid, then there is a way that Ames can be the father to this baby, but also stay this Amy. It's this idea that is running through Ames' head. And everybody is looking at Ames like, you done lost your fucking mind. You done lost your fucking mind. Jamie is looking like you done lost your fucking mind. He hasn't even told, I'm saying he because he's Ames. He hasn't even told the woman he got pregnant that he don't want that baby. So he is just a mess. But Jamie also is listening a little bit because Jamie always wanted to be a mother. And so she's like, maybe. Anyways, that's what's going on in this book. It's a little bit confusing, but it's not if you're reading it. Like, the Ames part is a little bit confusing because Ames did detransition. So, like, his pronouns would be he, but also Ames constantly talks about how he still feels like Amy, so like she. So you go back and forth depending on what you're talking about. It's a whole thing. This book is really, really good. I haven't read a book that I think is like brilliantly written in a long time, and this book is number one. I like literally dog-eared some stuff that is in this book. There's a part where Jamie is talking about Sex in the City, and how like all the characters in Sex in the City have all this like 30-year-old, like a 30-year-old dilemma, a cis heterosexual 30-year-old dilemma. Every character represents that sort of dilemma. Like Miranda, have a baby. Samantha, career or relationship. Charlotte, married, I need a partner. And then Carrie, career or man. And so Jamie was talking about how what a blessing it is that cis heterosexual women get to even have that dilemma, because to be a trans woman is for everyone to decide that you have no future. You get none of these options. And I thought that was so brilliant and astute. Another thing, I think I'm going to read this quote to you. It says, after all, every woman adores a fascist. Reese spent a lifetime observing cis women conform their genders through male violence. Watch any movie on the Lifetime channel, go to any schoolyard, or just watch your local heterosexual drinking in a bar. Here, women define themselves through pain or rage against the assumption that they do, which still places pain front and center. Hear their strange sense of satisfaction when they talk about the men who have hurt them, the unspoken subtext of it being because I am a woman, the quiet dignity of saying ow anytime a man gets a little rough, asserting that you are a woman, thus delicate and capable of sustaining harm. She's talking about how a lot of things that make being a cis heterosexual woman is your relationship to men and the violence that men can inflict on you. And I thought that was so brilliant. And also reading that, I just realized this girl name is not Jamie. This girl name is Reese. This girl name is Reese. I don't know where I got Jamie from. Is that from the last book? Somebody's name was Jamie? I don't know. But I thought that was so astute. I'll be back in a second. I have to go do book club, you guys. So after I finish book club, I'm going to come back and talk to y'all. So yeah, last time I talked to you guys at book club. So I just had to stop talking. But yeah, that quote just kind of really sums this book up so far. This woman who I said's name was Jamie, which is definitely Reese, she is dealing with the fact that she wants to exist in the world as herself. And she understands that she's carving out a path that really there is no precedent for in her life. But also she has to look to heterosexual people and look to heteronormativity for guidance, because that just is what life is. For example, Amy in this book, who is Ames now, was saying how people like to be like when they're talking to someone who's trans. They're like, yeah, I don't even care about gender. Gender doesn't even matter to me. And Ames was saying how when you're trans, all that matters is gender. Like, if people think that they're being like progressive or liberal when they be like, oh, gender doesn't even matter. But the thing about being trans is that gender matters a lot matters. Like gender matters, and that's kind of the whole point, is that gender matters a lot. And that's what this book is. You're dealing with these two characters who are just trying to live their fullest self, and that's what makes this book so interesting. It makes you ask yourself questions. Are you your fullest self? Like, they're constantly exploring themselves and making decisions about themselves. And when your mind is so like plugged into heteronormativity, how many decisions do you not make because decisions have already been made for you? That's really what I'm taking from this book so far, 100 pages in. And another thing that makes this book so good. I have read books with trans people in them. I have read books about trans people. This is the first book I read where it feels like I am in the life of a trans person. Of course, every trans person, it doesn't have this type of experience or whatever, but it feels like I am walking through life with this trans person, instead of this book like holding my hand and being like, so yeah, this and like explaining to me a trans identity. I am existing in this world with this trans person, and it's so well done. You feel like you are in, and I've never read a book that is dealing with trans people, that is this well done, that is this that is immersing the audience in it so much, and it's so good. It's just so, this is what books are for. Like, I'm sorry, every now, I told you, Kenya books, not Kenya books, and this is a Kenya book. Like, it's just so raw and it's just so real, and that's what I want these days in books. Books that just make me feel something, even if I don't love it, even if it's not, I just want to feel something, and this book is making me feel something, and it's just so well written. It's so intentional. It knows exactly what it wants to say, and it's making me think about things, which is all I ask for in a book. Like I said, back to the idea that gender people confirm their gender, cis heterosexual women confirm their gender through male violence. That's so interesting, especially because currently in the rap space, when you think about like Cardi B, JT, Glorilla, there's this thing of like these women who all identify as black constantly talking about how small they are. I'm so small, I'm so dainty, he's so big, he's so tall. And when you take that quote I just told you and put it in the context of what those women are doing, like, doesn't it seem like in order to prove they are the ultimate woman, they are ultra feminine, they have to prove that they're so small and controllable and submissive and dainty and fragile? Like, that's true. Like, I'm sorry, the quote is really true, and you see it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. 100% cis heterosexual women confirm their gender by performing this submissiveness or constantly showing that they are at all times in fear of men in some way, or that men are in some way out to get them, and they constantly have to show, like, I could be overpowered by a man. And like, that's just such an interesting thought. Anyways, I'm gonna keep on reading and I'll talk to you guys. Hello, you guys. I have only 100 pages left of Detransition, baby. I am at the final mark of the race, just 100 pages, and I am still enjoying this book. I will say I do not think this book is going to get 5 stars, and stay with me. I think the plot of this book has become a little, like, not really interesting to me. The plot about these 3 people wanting to raise a baby together, I don't find it all that compelling, and it also doesn't take up a huge part of the story. The more compelling part is just learning about Ames and Reese and the things that they have gone through and the stuff that they are going through now, getting into the lives of these 2 trans people. That is the most interesting part of this book, and I really enjoy being in Ames' head when Ames gives us flashbacks of growing up as someone who was perceived as a cis heterosexual white male, and all of the things that he did to disguise the fact he wanted to be a trans woman. So interesting. And then with Jamie, the stuff that's interesting about Jamie is getting into the world of trans people and what they experience and how they see one another, only because I don't want to, like, other them in that way. It's just like I've never read anything like this, and I don't know any of this stuff. So being put into that world, it is all just so eye-opening to me. And I really appreciated this book talking about how, like, we constantly discuss how trans women are targeted and killed, and I appreciate this book talking about how, but on a larger scale, it's usually trans women of color who are the ones who are being killed, and a lot of trans women who are white actually move through their community with a lot of privilege and stuff like that, and I enjoyed all of that. By the way, I'm cooking a dinner, and I really enjoy just hearing about how trans people perceive each other. It's really good in that way. So I'm having a good time with this. I genuinely believe this book is required reading. I just think everyone should read this book. You are going to learn something. It is so well written. It is so interesting. It's funny. I'm really enjoying myself. And like I said, you're getting into the world of these people who don't usually get a lot of representation in popular media. And another thing I really enjoyed, so Ames was talking about being in a relationship with Reese and why they broke up and what he didn't like about Reese when he was Amy and a woman. And Ames says that he went around asking people about Reese, and somebody said, no, Reese has issues, but her issues aren't because she's trans, they're just issues because she's crazy. And it was so funny because when you go into Reese's like POV, all of her issues really are mostly just because she's like an awful person. She's an awful, it has nothing to do with her being trans. It has everything with her kind of being awful. And I enjoy this idea of just like, not only do you have to be a trans woman and deal with those issues, but you have to deal with the issues of just being a person at the same time. So good. I'm enjoying myself. I think we're going to shape up for a 4.5 read. So yeah, what am I currently doing? I am going to make me a crock pot meal. I have not made something in my crock pot in maybe a year, but I'm going to make a stew in my crock pot. I got some carrots. I'm going to get some veggies going, and that's what I am going to do. Y'all can see from the clock, it's like 2 o'clock, so I hope it's ready. But that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Peace. Guys, I am here to wrap up the video. I have finished Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. I want to warn people when going into this book is very dense. That's the best way for me to explain it. Like, it took me like 2 minutes to read 1 page. Like, I read this book, like, started this morning. I wanted to read 50 pages. It took me like an hour and 10 minutes to read 50 pages. And so, like, every single word on the page is very, very important because you'll miss something if you are just not locked in. It's just a very dense book. There's a lot of words on every single page. So I will say this is not a book I think you can like mindlessly pick up and be like, oh, I want to read this in a couple days. I don't think this is a beach read is what I'm trying to say. This is a book that I feel like you really have to sit down and digest what's going on, understand the ideas that are going on in this book, what the author is trying to do. With that being said, though, I really, really enjoyed this book. I am going to give this book 4 stars. What I appreciated the most about this book is that I had no clue what was going to happen on every page. This is the first book in a long time that, like, I was just really interested in what was going on. Like, I was just surprised and shocked and just, I was like, what's going on? And that's what I appreciated. I was in the woods and didn't know how to get out. And I was just looking for direction, and this book was guiding me. And I just enjoyed being in this world. I enjoyed these two characters. I will never read any book like this, I think, ever again. It's just really important. That's why I said in the clip earlier, it's reading that everyone needs to do. Like, this is required reading because, like I said, I have read books about trans people. I have read books with trans people in it. This is the first book that I've read with trans main characters where I felt like I was in the world of trans people, understanding how they view the world, how they view themselves, and getting an understanding of ideas that I had a base level understanding of, but I feel like I understand more now, you know? And so I enjoyed that. The reason why it doesn't get a full 5-star is, I said this before, I didn't really love the plot. There's a character in this book called Katrina. She is the woman pregnant with Ames' child. I really didn't find her all that compelling. She kind of was in there, and I kind of felt like she was like our like straight fool. Like, you know, you put a straight person in a book with a book of queer people to be like that, you know, that to be the person in the book that's supposed to guide the reader. Like, oh, don't feel bad about being ignorant about stuff because this character is ignorant too. I just really didn't appreciate her in this book, so I didn't really appreciate that plot point. But other than that, I found this book to be perfect. 4 out of 5 stars. Then we read Memorial. The more I think about this, the less that I think about this book. This book was fine. I give it 3.5 stars. I think Family Meal is better. I own Lot by this author, and I'll read that too. This book is cool because it does have pictures. Brian Washington likes to include pictures in his book, which is cool. It doesn't really add much to me, but like if you like that you could like this book. I think this book is something you should read, but I feel like you would never give this book 5 stars. Maybe I'm actually speaking out of turn since this is like a queer book. Maybe if you are a gay black man, you probably would appreciate this book more than I do. So let me not say that. I just personally didn't really like love it, but I can see how you could. And then this was just a really cute romance book. I enjoyed it. It was called Can't Let Her Go. We are following 2 lesbians as they was falling in love with each other in a friend group. I don't read a lot of friend group romances where like people start off in a friend group and then they become lovers. I've read like friends to lovers, but like a friend group, we need some more of that. We need some more of that because I enjoyed this dynamic. And then what's the books? Then what's the books that I read this week? I went to the bookstore to see what discount books they had for me, and I felt like I got some winners. I got my hands on 3 books. First things first, for just $6.97, I got a paperback of The Bee Sting. I am so happy. I was going to buy this full price on my own because I read The Bee Sting last year. It was my favorite book of last year. It's still my favorite book at this current moment. I have not read a single book better than The Bee Sting. I own the hardback right there, and it's just too damn big. It is too damn big. Number one, to loan out to people, to read myself, to take. I just did not enjoy like the big bulky hardback. So just to have this to have on the go, I wanted to get my hands on it. So since it's on discount, I might as well. And I really think this is a nice paperback. So, and it's a flimsy paperback. Like it's everything that I want. So I was really happy to get this on paperback. I am not a multiple copies type of girl. Don't do me. I am not a multiple copies type of girl. To be honest, I think I've gotten rid of every single book where I have multiple copies, except for People We Meet on Vacation, because I do have the book of the month version, and I do have the regular version, but that's just a matter of happenstance. But everything else, I do not think I have duplicates of on my bookshelf. So this will be really the only duplicate of something that I own, but that's okay. I got that. And then I got 2, I think, young adult books. And I thought these were steals because I would have paid full price for these. So the first book I got was Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farada Abika Ayumide. Butchered that, but I got this. I would have paid full price for this book. So the fact that I was able to get this for $6, yes. I love bargain book shopping. More than I love full price book shopping, I love bargain book shopping. Nothing feels better than walking into a bookstore. This one, Books A Million. Walking into Books A Million and like seeing books that like I already had on my radar and getting them. Now, I do have a bargain book shopping rule at this current moment because I have so many books. I have a rule that if I didn't already know about you, I can't pick you up. If I didn't already know about you, I can't pick you up. And if I see you and I'm thinking about getting you, I need to go home and like read up on some reviews first before I buy you, because if everything is cheap, you'll buy anything, right? And I just can't. I used to have like just a lot of bargain books on my bookshelf, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to only have books that like literally I would have paid full price for, or I was waiting for them to come on bargain. A lot of thrillers, I would do that. But yeah, this is a steal to me. Steal. And then another steal, The Poison We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. $6 would have paid full price. I think I almost did pay full price. It's just so many books come out, and like these aren't my genre. I don't really read books in this genre, so I can't like just go out of my way to read them. So, and get them because I knew it'll take time. But the fact that I got these on discount, still win, love it. Successful week. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.